Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio. Let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Iyanla Van Zandt, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon. You're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all.
Hello, and welcome to BKS1 Radio, the Owl Show. It is your girl, Latoya Chanel, and I am blessed and back in the building this week for another show and another amazing interview. You all know that we are going to continue on with the Plainfield election that's coming up, so make sure you all get out and vote on June 6th. That is next Tuesday, and the polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., so go figure out where it is that you need to go and vote, and make sure you get out there and do it. You know why? Because primaries in June are just as important as those in November. But in the meantime, we are going to continue on with our political discussion that we began as of last week and the station has been doing for the last couple of weeks. And for all of you who are watching, because you are on this healing journey along with myself, we'll be back. We'll be back. It's just a brief commercial break, but we'll be back. We'll be back on the healing journey. I want to hear all about all of your stories, and I'll continue to tell you about mine. And we have some amazing shows that are coming up. I have some amazing therapists, some amazing doctors that are going to be coming on. So stay tuned. Make sure you come back and you're with me in June and into July, because I have a great series on red flags. Ooh, yes, red flags. Red flags in all areas. Red flags in romantic relationships, red flags in business, red flags with your family, just red flags just all over the place that you need to be aware of. And so I'm trying to find my right camera here, everybody. And so I want you all to be here for that, because once we go through the red flag series, then we have yellow flags and then we have green flags. So again, I have a great group who's coming in, and we're going to be discussing this over a period of time. So I would just want to make sure you all are here with me for that one. In the meantime, just to take care of some housekeeping, are you guys going to be in the city on July 4th? I hope so, because you all know that BKS1 Radio rocks out first things first in the morning for the parade. You know, you can always find us at the corner by Hugo's on Front Street, and we're always rocking out. We're always, introducing all of the floats that come down. So make sure you come out and join us, and make sure you come out and say hello to us. And then the pièce de résistance, everybody. After that, we have the 4th of July celebration, and this is going to be a tribute to the DJs. Y'all know Stormin' Norman is a DJ, right? Y'all, okay. I just want to make sure everybody knows this. So we're going to have a tribute to the DJs. Miss Jones is going to be doing some hosting. That is the Miss Jones. Miss Jones, who is on 94.7 The Block, will be doing some hosting. And let's see, some of the DJs we're going to have: DJ Grand G, DJ Tactics, DJ Cool V, everybody, DJ Bukeem, DJ Storm Norm, and DJ Cheese are all going to be on the stage right there in Cedarbrook Park. We are going to have Grandmaster Melly Mel and Scorpio and Nice and Smooth, everybody. It's going to be a day. I'm going to be excited to be there. There's going to be a load of food trucks, vendors, and of course, you all know the fireworks are after the concert. Shout out to my son, who is a fireman here in the city, who is always managing that. But again, everybody, make sure you come out. Make sure you support the city, and make sure you're there for the parade and for the concert, because it's going to be a beautiful day and a beautiful celebration. And make sure you can just come out and say hello to us. So That's my housekeeping stuff. Just had to take care of that and make sure you guys are there. We have a few more weeks. It's a month left until 4th of July. So I will be announcing that on all of our shows, and I'll be announcing that too. But in the meantime, today, because I don't want to get too far away from why we are here today. Today we are continuing on interviewing I guess we're continuing on with our political discussion, and we're interviewing those who are running for city council for our great city of Plainfield. Last week, I was able to interview Miss Cindella, who is running for city council for Wards 1 and Wards 4. And today, I have the beautiful pleasure of interviewing Miss Dr. Darcella Sessomes. Am I saying it correct? Darcella Sessomes, who is running for Plainfield City Council in Ward 2. So everybody, help me welcome to the OWWHH Show, Dr. Darcella Sessomes. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for that introduction. It was so warm, so inviting. I feel like I'm family.
You are family. You are already family. So we're doing this the fair way. We are asking all of the candidates the same questions, and we sent them to you previously just to make sure that everyone is, ready for what we have to give. So then people can do their comparisons, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So are you ready?
I am as ready as one can be in this situation.
Okay. All right. So this is question number 1, everybody. How long have you lived in the city of Plainfield?
So I've been a resident here for 26 years. I moved in December 26. It's been 26 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
26 years.
26 years. It was my buying a house here in Plainfield was my Christmas gift to myself.
And it is a Christmas gift. This city is a gift.
It is a gift. It is a gift.
It's a gift. And so have you always been in Ward 2?
Yes. I'm in the same home from my very first home is still my same home. So same ward, same district.
Awesome. I had to ask the question. I was like, how are the wards formed? Like, where's 1, 2, 3, and 4? So Ward 2, for everybody who doesn't know, what area is that in Plainfield?
So you have, there's 11 districts in the second ward, and it can go as far as the Sleepy Hollow area, all the way down to Richmond, Putnam, parts of Terrell, Leland. It stretches far and wide.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the 2-5.
Okay. Because I'm a lifelong resident here. I moved and then I came back, and I swear I still don't know. So, I'm like, what ward am I again? I think I'm Ward 3. I think we established that last week.
I learned a lot of streets as I've been walking. A lot of streets, a lot of walking when you're running for office.
Right. All right. So question number 2, what made you want to run for Plainfield City Council?
So that's an amazing question, and one that I appreciate. So I'm a passionate change agent. I believe in being able to bring leadership, quality leadership to a city, to its people. And I had worked or have worked or am working in the government space, and I've seen how governance works. And I felt like with all my experience, why aren't I using that to help benefit the city where I pay my taxes and where I reside? So I thought about it, and I said, I could bring all of this to the great city of Plainfield. And it was something that I had thought about for a while. Be clear, it wasn't a happenstance all of a sudden. This is something that I want to do. It was always a part of what I thought was my plan. And I had said as I got closer to the end of my state career that I would pursue politics. And so as I'm getting closer to retirement, thank goodness, the opportunity came about where I could begin to put that in motion. And so, you could stop and say, should I do this now? And I said, this door has opened right now for this reason, and I need to walk through this. So that's how I finally made the decision that, I was going to seize the opportunity since, this is the year for the primaries and the election.
Yeah. So running for city council, what are some of the changes that you feel need to be made?
So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I would like to see, and then what I'm hearing from the voters, or the residents, I should say.
Right.
So big concern that we're hearing about is law and public safety. A lot of concern about traffic in the residential areas and traffic in the more commercialized business areas. The residential areas, the residents are talking about the speeding, and they're concerned about young people or anybody getting hit by a car. Some of them want speed bumps, others don't. Some of them want, the flashing traffic signs, others don't. And so law and public safety is very big on the voters' list of priorities. Another thing that I've heard is we have a big, beautiful city. It's matched with, beautiful suburban parts, beautiful urban chic kind of parts, but no downtown social life. No downtown social life.
Right,
like where
right.
is our swanky restaurants, our swanky clubs, our ability to go out and have fine dining and have that
I want that. I'm a resident here. I want that.
Right. And we want to be able to spend our money
in our
town.
Yeah.
Like, I love New York, but I don't want to jump on the train every time I want to hang out with my friends, too.
Yeah.
I want to
or you have people coming in to visit.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So having a downtown life with, good restaurants and potentially, I won't say dance halls, but a place where people can gather and socialize. Downtown business development, very big on the list.
Yeah.
We have a beautiful downtown space. Why don't we have more stores, more businesses that people can patronize right here, our city, money in our city, the taxes in our city, hiring people from our city, what great jobs for the community. So building up our downtown life is super important to the residents. I've heard it over and over, and it was wonderful because it married with my spirit as well on what some of the things I wanted to see change. Training and development is really big for me. We have a lot of young people, and we want to make sure that Plainfield doesn't become this prison pipeline. And so we want to create opportunities for them because we know idle time creates problems sometimes.
Absolutely.
Not just for young people, even for some adults
absolutely,
as well,
yes.
Because then, you get into trouble with retail therapy and other things. But creating a training and development processes so that our young people can ultimately become entrepreneurs, because college isn't for every young person, and we have to be mindful of that. And so creating an alternative way for them to be self-sufficient and see their dreams come to fruition. So having that process of creating training and development that's going to teach entrepreneurial skills is a passion of mine, and I want to see that come to the city of Plainfield as well. There are just a host of issues that I could raise, but I will, I know you're going to move on to the next question, but I will say this. I think it's also important that we unite the city. We are a beautiful city filled with beautiful people.
But we are completely separated.
And it almost compares to what we've seen in the nation in certain spaces after certain elections. And I want to heal that. I'm a healer by trade, and I know we spoke briefly before this show, doing the work that I do. And we can agree to disagree. And as my parents always taught me, reasonable minds can differ, but how we use that difference is real important. So I want to end those battles that we're having. That's going to prevent us from moving the city forward. We can disagree, but let's do it in a way that's respectful and honorable, but not get in the way of moving the city forward.
Yeah. That I began that conversation last week because I said the city 5 miles and we're completely separated. You have your Latin area, you have your LGBTQ area, you have your the city residents that have been here forever, born and raised, and generations of folks here. And then you have your transplants, the newbies that are coming in with all of the new buildings. And so, but everyone is completely separated. Everyone does something different. Everyone goes somewhere different. And there's no cohesiveness whatsoever. And there's nothing that brings the cohesiveness. There's nothing that says, hey, we are one. Everyone come out. Everyone be a part of this. Be proud of the city that we are, all of us together.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's the beauty of Plainfield is our diversity.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And so with diversity, there should be a level of acceptance and inclusion. We've seemed to have fallen in love with this concept of us against them versus we and us.
Yes.
And so I'm really big on wanting to break that down. Having that us against them mentality is only further dividing our city, and it is prohibiting the progress that I know we can make. Plainfield is going to be the rival city in New Jersey where everyone wants to live because we see it right now. I remember when Jersey City started popping. I remember when Newark started popping. It's Plainfield's time. And the only way we can get that done is by coming together and saying, this is what's best for the city. Hence my motto, keeping Plainfield first.
Okay. All right. I love that. I love that. What are some of your solutions for safer, crime-free neighborhoods?
Well, if we had crime-free neighborhoods, I think we'd be living in utopia. It would be great if crime did not exist,
right?
You know, but the reality is that it does. I think what's important for the city is continuing some of the efforts that we've seen our law and public safety experts do around reducing the crime rates. But what is important is that we have to have a police force that can support that. So I am a big supporter of making sure that we have a police force that is fully staffed, that is appropriately compensated for the work that they do, although I believe you can never fully compensate someone who puts their life on the line day in, day out. And so building up our police force so that, you know, we have all of our vacancies filled, that our officers are compensated, that we're doing recruitment so that we have a diverse police force. I always thought Plainfield's police department was amazing, and I still hold it as a model to any of the other major cities. So I think that's super important. Having initiatives, again, that our young people can get involved in, you know, giving them alternatives, because when people have nothing and they don't see anything different, they think that this right here is all they know and all they deserve. And I'm a proponent of dream big, because I had to dream big in order to get where I am today. So definitely want to do more work with the youth so that they have opportunities. But balancing those two to the best of our ability in the city, I think, is number one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of the residents feel the city of Plainfield is getting too congested because of the new apartment buildings that are being built all over the city. Do you feel it's a problem, or is it a benefit to the city?
Do I feel congestion is a problem, or the building of the apartments?
The buildings.
So, you know, there's a pro and con to everything in life, and the building of the new residents is bringing residents into our city. It's expanding our tax base. It's adding to the diversity and inclusion that we constantly tout. It's also beautified spaces that were not so pretty, abandoned buildings, you know, busted out windows. That wasn't good for the city. So the look adds to the attraction to the city. But I could understand the residents' concern, because as you bring more people in, you're definitely going to get more traffic and more congestion. And I think that what we need to do, if it hasn't already been done, because keep in mind, I'm speaking as an outsider. I don't currently sit on the council, but I think that we'd want to make sure that we're doing traffic studies. And talking to the experts who could deal with that. I'm not from the Department of Transportation, so I'm not a traffic safety expert, but there are people out there and agencies that could assist us with that. And if there's any way they could put together a strategic plan with recommendations to the city, I think we owe it to review that plan and consider wherever we can make those changes, if in the budget.
Okay. What are your thoughts on, and this is my own personal question, what are your thoughts on the residential buildings versus what you were saying before about bringing the businesses back to the city of Plainfield?
So, again, I think we can be an and city and not an or.
Okay.
And so the thing that's so great about Plainfield, we have these big, beautiful historical homes, these mansions, and you think about, I remember thinking, if I was a little kid, I'd be making up big stories about, princesses and kings and queens living in there. So you have the big historical homes. Then you have the bigger homes that are not historical, but they're also well-built, lovely homes. Then you have the smaller houses, the regular houses like the one that I live in, the little bitty houses, right?
Cape Cods.
Me too.
Okay.
Cape Cod, exactly, right? And then you have apartments, you have condos. So we have it all, and I think that's important because everyone's lifestyle and everyone's pocketbook don't necessarily all fit the same thing. So I love the fact that there's something here for everyone in terms of a selection of a dwelling or a home, so to speak. But I still think in the spaces that are still out there that have not been developed, we can look at them for potential businesses, possibly some manufacturing businesses or stores or any other type of business that's willing to come into the great city of Plainfield and say, this is where I want to set up shop. And in setting up shop, I guarantee that I will hire X amount of people from the city. I think you have to hold, make sure that when we broker those types of spaces, that we're also brokering it so that the people in the city can get jobs as well.
Okay. And for those businesses, our next question, one of the questions asked by a city resident was about loitering around the businesses, street corners, and in residential areas. What are some of the solutions that you would have for these issues?
So I would want to get a better understanding of, how often is this happening? Are there repeat persons that we see that are constantly doing this? And I think that the strategy comes from us holding people accountable for wanting to keep their city beautiful. If you want Plainfield to be beautiful, we're all responsible for that. And we're responsible for holding those who violate that accountable. So I would want to make sure that we put together maybe a task force to take a look at that and come up with some possible recommendations to the city council. And look to the residents for their feedback. See, sometimes we think that all the answers come at the administrative governance level, but the reality is the power is here. The power is with the people, the voters, the residents, the taxpayers. And so soliciting their feedback is important. Like, we have to not be this, we make all the rules and they follow. It's, what do the people want?
Right.
What do the people want?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Homelessness and mental health issues are becoming a major concern. What type of programs would you suggest to help combat these issues within our community? And we're laughing. We're not laughing at the question. We're laughing because we literally had a 25 to 30-minute conversation about this prior to the show. So we're going right back into that conversation, folks.
Absolutely. So the inside joke is the healing space, the mental health space is definitely a space that, I'm in hot and heavy. And we shared some great information. Hopefully be able to even do some work after this.
Absolutely.
Pushing this issue, because we're all about that healing, right?
That is it.
So specifically regarding homelessness and mental health. So homelessness sometimes can be just an aftermath of mental health issues. And so first and foremost, we need a needs assessment, because I need to know what does the data say specific to Plainfield? Like, what do those numbers look like? And then from that needs assessment and census, we need to dig deeper and get to the root of how did people get into the situations that they're in now? A lot of times we like to speculate. Someone is homeless. They must be on drugs. They must have an alcohol problem. They must not care about themselves.
When literally all of us most of us are one paycheck away
Absolutely.
from being there ourselves.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm so glad that you said that, and that present company included. And so wanting to get at a needs assessment for the city, and then I would like to see us maybe assigning some caseworkers to really drill down again on what is the root cause of that homelessness. Is it connected to mental illness? Do we have enough mental health services
Here in the city,
here
right.
in the city that support those in need, and not just as we talked about before. Your mental health services have to be tailored culturally to the person who needs them. We cannot do this cookie cutter mental health type wraparound services and claim that, this is going to make the city better. Absolutely not. Mental health services are client specific, and we have to drill down, because what we don't know is many of the people who are in that situation may also be dealing with past trauma, as we talked about before the show started. And people fail to understand how that past trauma can take itself all the way up into people's adulthood, and how that past trauma affects the decisions that people make in life. So really drilling down. I mean, I know that some cities have started mental health ride-alongs with police departments and all of that, where they're matching a trained, licensed mental health professional with their police department, so that we're avoiding situations where it's really a mental health response, not necessarily a law enforcement response, but drilling down on what are the circumstances that cause people to be in the situations that they are in, and providing the right match services that is wrapped in empathy and compassion instead of judgment and criticism, blaming them for their circumstances. We don't know what those people went through.
Right.
But how can we not further marginalize them and be those who uplift people who are marginalized? And so, the mental health thing is my space.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I could go on and on and on about that, but real important. You have 70% of Americans who have experienced some type of traumatic event in their life. Now, how we all responded to that traumatic event, differently.
Absolutely.
Okay. But some people were not able to bounce back from that traumatic event. Others were a little bit more resilient. And so for those who were resilient, that's a great thing. Good for us. But let's not be judgmental. But for those who weren't able to bounce back, we have to figure out how we can help our brothers and sisters and not further isolate them and make them feel othered. And so I think you can see, and maybe the audience can see, I'm passionate about this. Like, as we say, I'm for real, for real.
Yes, I mean, and we can help our fellow man in this city through programs and services that they have to be developed.
Absolutely. And I think my not-for-profit background experience, so, early in the game right after college, I was working in large cities. I worked in Newark, and I was working with people who were homeless, people who were HIV positive, people who had full-blown AIDS, people who were suffering with addiction. I was out there during the hot and heavy crack era, working in some of the toughest streets in Newark, stepping over the needles and the crack vials and the crack pipes. Little old me thought I was 110 pounds worth of nothing, but you couldn't tell me I wasn't Mike Tyson out there in a fight.
Right.
I've worked with people who are women who are survivors of domestic violence, trying to get out of an abusive situation. So I have a love and a heart and a compassion for those who are in need. As clergy, my text reads those who are considered the least of these, and I have a passion for them. And so we can put together programs. I know we can do this because I've done this in my day job.
Right.
We can put together those successful programs to help our brothers and sisters in the city of Plainfield,
yes,
so that they can elevate themselves.
Yes, we can.
Because we don't elevate anybody.
Right.
People elevate themselves. We're just there to be a catalyst to help them to change.
Yeah. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Whose campaign was that? Yes, we can.
It was a great president.
Exactly. Listen, if you are just tuning in, it is your girl, Latoya Chanel, and I am sitting here with Dr. Darcella Sessomes, who is running for Plainfield City Council of Ward 2. So if you're watching us right now on Facebook or on YouTube, listening to us on TuneIn, or if you'll hear us tomorrow on Spotify, we thank you for watching the show, and we love you guys for listening and watching the show. And I'm going to continue on with some of the questions that we have been asking all of our city council, electees? Candidates, that's it. Candidates, everybody.
But you can call me an electee. Speak it into existence for me.
Right. Okay, our next question, which we actually have probably gone over already. What do you suggest the city do with the vacant buildings and lots around the city? Which we've gone over for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. But again, just to elaborate a little bit more, I think that there is a business community out there that would love to come into the city and work with us to put some businesses downtown. I can tell you, and I won't say his name, I was actually out canvassing yesterday. And, I came up against a person who was, pretty much coming at me. And, I'm used to that, right? And this person was talking about wanting to get a manufacturing business. This is his company down in the city of Plainfield. And, we had a very good conversation about why that's so important for the city and the jobs it would create. So I really think that some of these vacant buildings, we could bring in more businesses and or, if ever possible, purchase them ourselves and turn them into, specialized housing as needed.
Now, how does that work? I mean, because we all talk about bringing the businesses back. Everybody wants, like we spoke in the beginning of the interview, we spoke about bringing more businesses downtown. So from a political perspective, how does that work? What exactly goes into bringing businesses downtown? Is that just a general marketing plan? Is that how does that work?
So I'm not on the council yet, but I would assume that first and foremost, you have to have these conversations with these potential businesses to talk about the benefits of them being in the city. Touring them, letting them see property, maybe even doing some mock-ups of what their business could look like. You know how in those home shows they mock up the room, so you're like, oh, okay, it looks like that. And then going into some form of negotiations. Like I would have to have, a better understanding of how that works through ordinances and all of that. But I do believe it's doable. I've seen it done in other large cities. They've some cities that you would never thought have brought names like Starbucks and Wegmans and all these other huge companies into their cities or places where people said, oh, they'll never have that. But they dreamed. And so Plainfield has to dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you suggest some things that would help bring in more jobs for the youth in Plainfield?
So again, companies would bring in, but I think also we need to look at any federal or state grant opportunities that would allow to that would offset any cost for the city to pay youth workers. To see if there are any opportunities to have that type of funding come in and that funding be targeted or earmarked for youth employment. Because I think it will, it gives the young people a sense of responsibility, which is never their priority. Their priority is putting some money in their pocket first.
Right.
But it will give them that opportunity to develop that work ethic that they're going to need out there in the quote-unquote real world. So I think if we can look to opportunities, and even if there's some private foundations or if the city, again, not knowing what the budget looks like, but looking at the city budget and see, is there a way that we can fund summer youth employment opportunities for our young people? I think it's a major investment for our city. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is just one of my own questions.
Sure.
What kind of city council member will you be?
Oh, this is my favorite question.
Yes.
So it's funny. I was, again, canvassing. This was about a month ago, and one of the residents of Plainfield said, I see you as the What did he call me? He said the respectful disruptor. willing to it was another D word. It was something disruptor, but it was with a D. But to the context was that I don't see you as, one who kind of goes along to get along. I see you asking the hard questions. I see you standing firm if you have an idea that you want to, present. Let me be clear, and for the record, Dr. Darcella Sessomes is no rubber stamper of anybody or anything. I've always been my own woman. And comments like being a rubber stamper, I think, is kind of degrading to women because it says that a woman can't make her own mind. She has to be controlled by a man. And so I'm definitely not a rubber stamper. You better check with my household. They'll tell you.
Right.
But I'm also one who is cognizant of people. Like, you can't be a bull in a china shop. This is about being engaging. You have to be engaging with the residents.
You can't be a bull in a china shop, but you also can't hide.
Right.
And no one see you, no one know anything about you, and no one know what you're doing, what's going on, or any of that either.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just had to put that part out there. Yes.
Visible.
Yes.
And present. I think is super important. I already have in my mind how I want to set up for resident engagement, if elected, because being in touch with the people is important to me. Being available, and I'm not saying, I say reasonably available. If I'm in the middle of going to a wedding, you can't just, or a funeral, you can't just, but I think making yourself reasonably available to the residents is how the residents feel connected with you. And like you said, then they don't feel like you're hiding. Like, you have to have a visible presence as a leader in a community.
Yeah.
So it's super important. And one of the things that the voters can be assured of is that I will always conduct myself with grace and dignity, never dismissive of anyone's thoughts or opinions on the council, never minimizing or devaluing them, not cursing at them. That's not my style. I know Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. But my paraphrase of that is, when they go low, I stay high because I was already high. So
I love that. We're going to clap that one up. I love that.
Decorum is important.
It is.
Because people are looking at us. And if we're a city council and we're up there arguing and fighting and being disrespectful, or on virtual, what does that say about us as leaders? That can't happen. That can't happen. We got the nation looking at us because I said Plainfield is going to be number one.
Okay. I love that. I have a question here. Someone asked, any ideas about affordable rental housing?
So it's interesting, again, through canvassing. You learn a lot when you walk a city and you knock on doors and you talk to people.
Yeah.
People have a misunderstanding about affordable housing, and they want to conflate that with Section 8 and it, sometimes in a negative way. And for me, I said everybody has the right to live in a safe, comfortable, clean environment where they feel that they can make it their home. And so I support affordable housing. I support strategic growth. Everything has to be done with a strategy, not happenstance. I believe in studies. I believe in, feedback from the residents. But I do support affordable housing because people have the right to live. And just because their home is affordable housing, it in no way, shape, or form devalues your property. Quite frankly, Plainfield's property values are going up because of the revitalization in the city. So I do support affordable housing.
Okay. So I guess maybe a part two to this, and this is my own question. I mentioned my son is a fireman here in town. So he was pretty much born and raised here. For our next generation that's coming up, or for those who have been lifelong residents of Plainfield, the new buildings that are coming in, the rent is astronomical for most people. How do we find a way that our lifelong residents maybe would want to inhabit some of these buildings, or maybe would want to stay within their own city but can't afford to because the newer buildings are coming in and it's not within their price range? What can we do so that the people who are born and raised here can stay here to continue to make the community great?
So I heard a similar question in speaking to a police officer who referenced that they can't even afford to live in some of the new developments. And that shook me to the core because, you know, first and foremost, you know, as an essential worker, I believe that we need to take care of our police, fire, and EMS because in a crunch, who do we call? Police, fire, and EMS. So shout out to police, fire, and EMS in the city of Plainfield and all the work that you do.
It's for my son.
Shout out to your son.
Thank you.
Plainfield's bravest. And so, again, because I don't know all the specific nuances on how deals are brokered with developers, I think that's a conversation we need to have. The same way if we were going to broker a deal with a manufacturer about coming into the city of Plainfield and creating jobs and, you know, opening up a business, you know, we want to have conversations about how many of those positions need to go to Plainfield residents and so on and so forth. Maybe conversations with developers about, you know, special rates. And again, I don't know if this is doable, but if we're going to think out the box, let's just think out the box.
Let's do it.
Special rates that we could consider in order to keep those lifelong residents in the city, because why would we want them to leave? Or special rates, you know, for certain, you know, EMS, police, fire. Why would we want them to ever relocate outside of our city, particularly how tough it is right now? So looking at those different factors, and when we negotiate with developers, talk about maybe a specialized pricing plan. Again, I don't know if this is doable, but again, I'm going to think outside the box until somebody tells me, no, we can't do that.
Right. You know? Right. No, it's definitely something that's necessary. And like you said, the officer said to you, it's a shame that you can't live in the city that you have to protect. Or you can't live in the city where you have to work. And if there's an emergency situation, you're now traveling from afar to get here to help the residents, but you can't even live here. So that's definitely a big issue, and that's something that I'm looking to when I'm going to the polls on June 6th. That is something that I'm looking for all of us to begin discussing, because you do have that next generation of folks who want to remain here and want to continue on with the legacy and the greatness that Plainfield has always had. We were the Queen City for a reason, you know, and we need to
queens.
And we need to make sure that reputation is restored.
Absolutely.
You know, and that next generation can do that and will do that, but we need to be able to keep them here.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, there's a pride in that legacy when people say, I lived here, my dad lived here, my grandfather lived here. There's a pride in that. And so why would we want to break up that legacy, so to speak, particularly if they love their city? So trying to figure out what can actually be done would be something that, you know, I, if elected, would definitely work with the council and the administration to see if we could figure that out. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the other questions I see that we have here is, what ideas do you have to create a better collaboration with the school board?
Okay, so when we had a conversation, when you asked me a few moments back, when we talked about the brokenness of the city, let me say that. Throughout this campaign process, I learned more and more about the fracture between the city and the board. And that for me is concerning, because a lot of residents, when they were talking to me, you know, they were saying, as council person, you need to do something about the schools, not realizing the autonomy that the board has separate from the city. I love education. As you can see from my card I went back to school. Somebody thought I was a professional school person.
Professional student?
Yeah, professional student. But some of those good degrees I got because folks said I could never have them.
Ooh, I'm doing that now. Okay.
I could. I had a teacher once, I had a teacher once tell me that, someone like you will never go to college, let alone an Ivy League school. So 5 degrees later.
Yes, I love that.
And I remember, here's the thing about education. You always remember the teacher who said something that hurt your feelings. And she was my 3rd grade teacher, and I won't say her name. She's already deceased, so may she rest wherever she is. So education is important to me. It's important to me, and I want the students in the city of Plainfield to have as many opportunities as they can have. And I'm not saying college is for everyone, but I want them to have as many opportunities as they can have. I don't want anybody telling them what they can't do academically. And so we have to put down the strife and pick up a pen and a phone and have conversations and be able to work together so that the students don't miss out. That's important. I want to see our schools have top-notch technology in the school system as some of the other schools in the state of New Jersey. I want to see the Plainfield students going to HBCUs and Ivy Leagues if they so choose, and it not be an anomaly. Like we see one and we're like all happy, and we should be happy for that person, but this should be constant for us. We should be cranking them out, or they're going down the path of entrepreneurship, or serving our country, going into the military. But we need to make sure that we support whatever path that they want. So I say this to the board. As council person, I am willing to work with you to make sure we continue to put our children first. Because I have a child in the school system, but we stay on her. She knows my past. She sees my grind. She sees my hustle. But I want all the kids in Plainfield to have whatever opportunity they need to have and not be stifled because 2 entities can't work together. That doesn't move the city forward. I got an applause.
I love that. I mean, you're also coming from someone, my mother worked for the Board of Education for 40 years here in the city of Plainfield, before she retired. So I'm very passionate about that as well. So let's put down whatever the past was and come together for our children. Point Absolutely.
blank.
All right. Woo. Okay. All right. We have a few more questions left. All right. So one of the last ones is, what ideas do you have to engage residents on a regular basis and not just for the election?
Oh. So you mean don't be a every 4-year council person where your voters see you? Okay. I just wanted clarification on that.
Maybe that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I said it earlier about being very strategic about, how I envision being able to stay in touch with the residents. Like I don't even know if I said this on air or a private conversation. I think I mentioned that I want to bring my private practice, open up an office in the city of Plainfield, which is great because if I, open up that office in the city of Plainfield, it also gives me a public place where the residents can actually come in and talk to me. Having an office space in the city of Plainfield, having a designated, cell phone number, having a designated web page where it would be contact me. They could drop down, have a drop down with what the subject matter is, get those messages, be able to respond to them in a timely manner. I'll tell you, as much as walking for this election has been hard, it has been the best thing on my body. So what I am going to continue to do is walk the neighborhoods. I mean, I just won't be doing it 7 days a week.
Right.
But I like that. I like that. And I had this weird vision. I was like, when you become councilwoman, you're just going to take a folding table, set it up in the middle of a block somewhere and kind of do one of those, this is where I am today, come get at me situations.
Come talk. I want to hear.
Talk. Exactly. Do that all throughout the city. But that being that visible presence where they could reach out and connect to you, I think is important. And so I'm open to any ideas, but as you can see, I got some crazy ones.
No, I don't even think that's crazy. I think that's an awesome one. What makes you the best candidate for the position of city council, and why should residents vote for you, other than everything that you just said for the past 50 minutes?
Okay, so other than everything we've talked about as this hour comes to an end,
yes,
I think the thing that I want the residents to know and to hear in my voice and to see in what looks like a very shiny face on Facebook Live.
No, it's
is my love for the city. I want them to feel that in my spirit. I want them to know that this isn't about politics or power or position. Quite frankly, I have all of that in my day job. You know, I have all of that. This is a love for people and making sure that our people have an opportunity to be the best version of who they are, to live in the neighborhood or the section of town that they choose to live in, and that I'm genuine, that I'm approachable, that I'm respectful, and that I care. And I think that if the residents don't see or feel that, then you're not doing your job as a council person, or perhaps you're not cut out for that job. I believe, you know, everybody has a gift, but perhaps council person isn't that person's gift. And so I think that's what I want, aside from all the other things we talked about, the residents to know about me. I have been called the real deal by many people. Like, I've been co-signed by many people as, oh, Darcella, that's the real deal. No, what you see is what you get. No, she's for real. And I want the residents to know that. And I want them to feel that when they talk to me, when they see me. And when I come to them and I ask them, you know, what are your thoughts on this? Be able to feel like they could come to me with a question and I won't demean them or judge them. You know, in counseling, they say, you know, accepting folks where they are and help them to get to where they want to be. And that's kind of what I want people to know about me.
Okay. All right. That wasn't hard, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
So okay. Now I'm going to get to some of my questions.
Okay.
Dr. Darcella Sessomes, what do you do for fun?
Woo! So I love to read. I love to read, and you know, you and I spoke about that, and I love to read books on healing and lifestyle and life changes. I love vacationing. I love the beach. You know, water is healing. We know that.
Oh,
yeah, water is healing. Water could be its own therapy.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. I'm
right.
I'm leaving not tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. Yes.
Good for you.
Yes, it is. I love it.
Yeah. So I love the beach. Just go and kind of just be one with your thoughts. I love to travel. So I've traveled internationally for like the last 10 years, except during COVID. So I've been, you know, pretty extensive. South Africa twice, Ghana, Israel, Palestine, Spain, Portugal. This summer, I'm actually going to Senegal and Gambia. So I love the continent of Africa.
Yes.
You know,
have you been to Tanzania?
Not yet. I was supposed to go
I'm going
in
next
July.
year in June. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll have to talk about that.
I had my choice between Tanzania this July or Senegal in August, and I said, you know what, I'm going to need a month after the election, so I chose Senegal in August. So love to hear how Tanzania works for you.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah.
What is one of your favorite memories since you've been in the city of Plainfield?
Favorite.
Memory about the city, you know, since you've been here.
So I think for me, it was the experience of buying my home. Because again, a young kid who comes from, you know, very, very humble and meager beginnings. I thought it was so funny. Somebody on Facebook said that I was bougie, but coming from humble beginnings.
Well, wait, where did you move here from?
I moved here from South Jersey. Right before I moved to Plainfield, I was living in New Brunswick.
Okay.
Because that's where I was getting my last degree from.
Yeah.
But before that, I was living in South Jersey. And just the experience of getting that key and saying, this is my home. This is where I belong. Not so much a mine, this is mine, but this is where I belong. There's a feeling there that when you come from nothing and you have that experience, you never ever forget. And it was buying my house right here in the city and finally saying, I did it. I did it. I did it. And so that was a great experience. And then, the concerts in the parks, they're always slamming. They're always slamming. And I can't wait till July 4th.
Yes.
Because normally I'm in Brooklyn, but I'm going to be in Jersey this July 4th. Just because.
Okay. So, no, it's going to be a good one this year, everybody.
I can't wait.
Make sure you all are coming out on 4th of July for the parade in the morning. It's a long day.
It's okay.
It's always a long day. We start off with the parade in the morning, and then depending upon how hot it is, it feels longer. But we always start out with the parade downtown, and then we go into the park, and we're there most of the day. And then in the evening, as soon as the sun goes down, we go into those fireworks.
Yeah,
so
I love
it's
the fireworks.
It's always a good time in the park. Well, listen, we are coming to the end. And I feel like this was an amazing interview, so I thank you for coming out. I thank you for doing this because this was awesome. And for all of you, what we've been doing is Norman has been doing a compilation of folks. So I think the incumbent is Sean McKenna. Yes, Sean McKenna. That's who you're running against? Yes, and so he was interviewed, I believe, on Saturday morning. So what Norman has been doing for the folks, for the city of Plainfield, is kind of doing a mashup of the questions by both parties, so you can get to see how both parties answered the questions, and then you can make your decision from there. And then make sure you are getting to wherever your voting station is on June 6th, and that's between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. Get out there and vote. It is important. It is important. You don't have a right to complain if you don't vote. And we've been saying this forever. You can't complain about what's going on in the city if you're not out there voting for who you believe best matches your interests and wants to be in office.
Yes.
So, any last words?
I just want to thank you for this opportunity and the energy that you have brought. It truly is representative of the energy of the city. And I'm so glad that we've had this space. And again, just want to encourage the voters, come out June 6th. Let your voice count. Let it be heard. For those of African ancestry, our ancestors fought hard for this opportunity. And so let us not waste it. And see you at the polls on June 6th.
All right, everybody. You all know I say it every week. I love you guys for watching. I love you guys for listening. And God willing, I will be here next week. Same time, same place, different show. We'll be back on our healing journey as of next week because you all should be out voting during that time period. But by the time this comes on at 7 o'clock, the polls are almost closed anyway. So, you guys can get back into the healing journey with me next week at 7. But in the meantime, I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. If you ever need any support, you know how to reach me, and I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.